I only just found out I was going to speak, so I think I can do this off the top of my head, says the former teacher. But a couple of months ago, some of you might have heard me speak here, and part of the theme of what I talked about was sort of the despair that I felt, and then also where I saw hope. I'm going to continue that theme. So a few months ago, I told people the story of me living in Israel on a kibbutz from 1948 to 1952, and 70 years later finding out that that place had been a Palestinian village for almost 1,000 years, and that village had been decimated and people either killed or sent out. And this morning I saw the news. I can't always read everything, but I like to know what's going on. I saw more of what's going on in southern Lebanon. And I'm thinking to myself, in southern Lebanon, there may be somebody my age, born in 1947, who was kicked out of that Palestinian village, has been living in southern Lebanon, and is now having bombs dropped on their houses, hospitals, whatever, neighborhoods. And that is again a kind of despair. But last weekend I went up to Massachusetts, where I grew up, to have a Passover Seder with my family, and lucky there's enough time has gone by, nobody argued with me about Zionism this time. But my cousin had gotten a Haggadah in the mail from the Union of Mental Health Workers in Israel. And in this Haggadah, there's a section in the Passover Seder where you list the plagues, vermin, locusts, killing the firstborn, and on. But in this Haggadah, written by Israelis, they listed a different set of plagues. Bombing, killing children, starvation, and the last one was the silence of the world. And it was very powerful and moving, but it also said to me that there is something happening in Israel in spite of what we hear, where there are people who don't want this to continue. And the second point I want to make is, yesterday I spent a day in 2 different high schools. I was a high school teacher. Occasionally I still go into high schools. It's kind of my happy place. Young people are energetic, they're not cynical, they don't feel the despair that I feel. They have a little hope, in spite of the fact that their lives are very difficult. So I did that. When I walked down here, I passed Independence Hall, and you know, they put back some of the exhibits about slavery, but not everything. They still want to paint a picture of slavery as if it wasn't really all that bad. And I say this to say that young people are hope, but we have to be vigilant, not only about what's going on with bombs and tax dollars going to war machines, but with what is happening with education. We have to educate young people, and we have to insist that they continue to be educated. And in this country, that's not happening. I heard Brian Stevenson speak recently, and he said, and we know this, in Germany, they educate people about the Holocaust. You can't walk around with a swastika, waving it in the air. Similarly, in South Africa, they educate people about apartheid. We need to educate people not only about what our government is doing in terms of this war, but about what the history of this country is and what it continues to be.